Hello, everyone. This is The Lock, and this is the Skeptic Wars podcast, where I talk about some of my favorite stories from the past week. And first of all, I want to apologize for not having this out about a day or two earlier because I've unfortunately been sick. I've had a cold and a cough, and I might occasionally cough on this. So if I do, please excuse that. But well, anyways, happy Memorial Day, everyone. Uh, if you live in America, please keep the troops in your thoughts and think of Veteran Day. All right. First of all, let's just get right down to it, shall we? All right. First story: New name wanted. Federal agency backs away from alternative medicine. And apparently, the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine, and yes, this is apparently a real federal agency that promotes alternative medicine, um, is proposing a name change, and they're asking for the public's help in the name change. Um, I would suggest the Federal Agency for Promoting Fake Medicine or Quackery, or the National Federal Agency for the Promotion of BS or pseudo medicine. You know, uh, I would give it a name of what it truly is, not alternative medicine or complementary medicine. I would call it quackery or pseudo medicine or fraudulent medicine, but or better yet, how about just disbanding the agency completely? I mean, there's no point for it to exist. In fact, it shouldn't exist. I shouldn't have to pay my tax money. I shouldn't have to give tax money to fund an agency like this. To fund an agency that promotes stuff that science says is complete and total BS and doesn't work. And well, apparently they want a name change because apparently complementary and alternative medicine doesn't sound that good. All right, next one. This is from Miles Power. And this was a very popular post for his blog. It was a rather embarrassing night for psychic Sally in Middlesbrough. And Miles had gone to a Sally Morgan um, show in Middlesbrough where she's allegedly talking to dead relatives, and she was apparently talking to what she thought was well, what had happened was that she had been given a picture of someone who she she assumed was dead, and she was trying to communicate with that dead person. And it turns out not only was the person still alive, the person was in the audience. And after that, it her show just went downhill from there, and it this is probably the best example of how this woman is a fake, that shows this woman is a fake ever since there was a report came out that said that she had earpieces in her that she was wearing earpieces for communication, and that people found out that they were apparently um, sending her that people in the back, maybe even her husband, was sending her communication via those earpieces. and she ended up suing a newspaper, and the newspaper that had published that, and they settled instead of fighting it. But this is probably the biggest embarrassment to her since that article came out. All right, this next one. Truthers plan to hand out fake brochures for the 9/11 museum on opening day. Apparently, the 9/11, I think 9/11 cult would probably be 9/11 truther cult would probably be the most accurate way to describe them, most accurate thing to call them. Architects and engineers for 9/11 truth apparently are planning to do something that's very, very, shall we say, very wrong, very deceptive. They're planning to hand out brochures near the 9/11 memorial and 9/11 Memorial Museum, I should say. And these brochures, well, they're not actually brochures. They're propaganda pieces. And what they are is that they're made to look exactly like, made to look very similar to the official 9/11 memorial brochures or guides. My suggestion is, if you get one of these, tear it up. In fact, I would suggest tearing it up in front of the person who gave it to you, and then handing it back and say, "I don't want this." That's what I would probably do. I would make it quite clear that I don't appreciate this, and that I don't think they should be there, and I think they need to give up. They really do need to give up. The architects and engineers of 9/11 truth, in fact, the entire 9/11 truth movement need to give up, and they need to accept reality, and they need to accept the reality that neither America or Israel destroyed the Twin Towers. It was a bunch of members of Al Qaeda. Okay, that's who destroyed the Twin Towers. They destroyed the Twin Towers after several suicide pilots drove directly in to the Twin Towers, flew planes directly into the Twin Towers, and it caused massive amounts of destruction, and it destroyed both the Twin Towers and multiple buildings, and not just simply Building 7. It destroyed probably, I believe, every building at the World Trade Center site and several others surrounding it, or at least it damaged it to the point where it had to be destroyed. Alright, next one. FTC, Federal Trade Commission, charges green coffee bean sellers with deceiving customers through fake news sites and bogus weight loss claims. This is from the Federal Trade Commission, and the Federal Trade Commission has sued a Florida-based operation that capitalized on the green bean diet fad that's being promoted by Dr. Oz. And by the way, if it's promoted by Dr. Oz, unless you have legitimate doctors backing it up, I would consider it to be fake. And basically what it is that these makers of the this company called Pure Green Coffee has been posting fake news articles on websites. These that it makes it appear like, these that the green coffee bean that these green coffee bean fads are being promoted in multiple health magazines, and it makes it look like it was written in these multiple health magazines, and as it turns out, they're not. And these weight loss claims are also apparently completely and totally bogus. As I said before, if it's promoted by Dr. Oz, it's probably bogus, because he's been known to, because he promotes a lot of woo stuff. But basically, the FTC is suing Pure Bean Coffee and all these green coffee bean sellers and stuff, and basically telling them, hey, you've got to stop. And if you don't stop, we're going to force you to stop. We're going to force you out of business. Which, I think is good. I think this fad needs to end, just like any other fad, like the Atkins diet and the gluten-free diet. Those fads, they just need to end. Alright, 10 Palm Beach Gardens middle school students take homeopathic sleep aid, 3 hospitalized. And down in Palm Beach, several middle school students, well, 10 middle school students took over-the-counter sleep aid that's actually homeopathic sleep aid. And well, they had to be taken to the hospital. That's merely a precaution, and well, I'm pretty certain the kids are probably out by now, because this was posted a few days ago, but about a week ago, and you know, there's no danger to taking these things because there's nothing in them. I mean, James Randi often would demonstrate why homeopathic medicine is BS by taking a whole bottle of homeopathic sleeping pills on stage and neither dying nor even falling asleep. These sleep pills, it's all a placebo effect, and granted, I don't mind placebo effect for something like sleep pills or something like that. In fact, I would much rather use something that works on placebo effect for something like sleep pills than having to use real sleep pills, which could possibly be addictive. But there's no danger to these things. It's just sugar pills or water. All right. Next one. Excuse me there. Alright, New Zealand UFO was another publicity stunt, and this is by a website called openminds.tv. I know it sounds like one of those conspiracy theorist websites, but anyways, as it turns out, there was a UFO that was spotted over Auckland, New Zealand, and as it turns out, the UFO wasn't a UFO. It turns out it was a publicity stunt. It was a commercial publicity stunt, and pretty much it wasn't. So it's not a UFO anymore. It was just a giant hoax, and it was actually was a remote controlled octocopter. Basically, it was a drone base. It was a drone basically, and well, it was just fitted with LED lights, and it looked like a UFO, but it's not a UFO. It's a completely man-made thing and was done merely for publicity and publicity only. And, whenever you see stuff like this in the air, never assume it's an alien spacecraft. Assume one of two things. It's either natural phenomenon or it's a man-made phenomenon. And if it's a man-made phenomenon, either assume it's just something that's misidentified or it's a complete and outright hoax. Alright, finally, rumors of third Barack Obama term are satire passed off as truth. And apparently, there's been this rumor going around the internet, specifically, mostly on Facebook, that Barack Obama is planning for a third term, which, of course, he's forbidden from doing, because, there's a constitutional amendment that says you can only seek 2 terms. And this story was being passed off as fact, but it's not fact. In fact, it was first posted on a satirical website called National Report. And unfortunately, most people don't know that National Report is a satirical website. In fact, National Report has actually done what they can to try to keep people from knowing that it's a satirical website. In fact, it routinely deletes comments from the website that point out it's a satirical website, which, The Onion doesn't do that, I don't think, but, excuse me. Basically, if you see any type of story being posted on the internet that says that Obama's planning to run for third term, or if any type of political candidate is planning to do something that they are specifically forbidden from doing due to the Constitution or due to law, you want to check where the story is originally from. And if it comes from a satirical website like National Report, you should totally ignore it and disregard it completely. Okay? Alright, so that's it for this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you again next week for the next edition of Skeptic Wars podcast. So this is Locke saying, see ya.